Midnight light on a dim-lit screen, clicking through stories you wouldn't believe. Cold case trails and courtroom scenes, whispers from the grave and media dreams. Truth is stranger, hearts beat faster in the shadows of a news disaster. Scrolling deep where secrets hide, you found the stories time won't deny. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods clubs to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Small town rumors and urban fear, a voice for the lost who can't speak here. Through every name, through every case, you hold the truth in a steady place. Cameras roll but justice lingers, truth unravels through careful fingers. You tell the story, speak their names in a world that's quick to look away. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods crimes to great night trials, you trace the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Some run from the dark, you walk right in with a question and a camera lens. It's not just a crime, it's the lives they led. The voice is still talking from the books unread. Headstones and headlines, the veil is thin. Truth gets louder when you begin. With every view, with every line, you bring the forgotten back to life. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Yeah, headstones and headlines, you tell the stories that time can't hide.
Hey everyone! Fancy meeting you so soon. I gotta be honest, I went on CNN today to see what was happening with the Iran situation, and what was there right in my face? Verdict. I was like, dang it. I was hoping, I'm glad that I saw that there was a verdict in, but I was not expecting it to be so soon. The jury came to the verdict in less than 2 hours. I assume, because I have lunch at 11, so it must have been like 11:15 when I checked CNN. So I would assume they got the case around 9 this morning, and by 11:15 when I looked, there was a verdict. Yeah, Nanny, less than 2 hours. Because I was like, I was for sure it would take them until at least tomorrow. But craziness. So please, if you know the verdict, do not spoil it for those who don't. I know the verdict, obviously, because I saw it, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut until the end. So, Nanny, thanks for being here. Evil Queen, Lunatic, good to see you. Nicole B, cool, thanks for being here. Haven't been following the trial, but I heard it was interesting. It was very interesting. I've got to say, Of the trials that I've covered, this is one of the most interesting, I believe, because I went in thinking guilty on all counts. And then as I was listening to some of the testimony, things that, were presented, I was like, well, I don't know. Like the lesser charges I was definitely guilty for, but I couldn't decide on the second degree murder. I was like, well, and then even after hearing the jury instructions, I was like, well, I don't know. But the jury did. Hey JS, how are you? And we're I actually got to leave work a little bit. Well, we were allowed to leave at 2 today because the weather is atrocious. We're getting snow and ice overnight. It already started snowing at like 12 o'clock. And so I went out to the mail because apparently my Shein order was delivered to the mailbox. No, it wasn't. So I went out for no reason, and I didn't realize that there was ice underneath the snow, and Emmy took a tumble. And it was all caught on ring cam. I am okay. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a big bruise on my hip. And I tried to grab the hedges to break my fall. It didn't work. And all it did was cut my hand. So that was exciting. Said no one ever. So I had to send a message I rent out my other driveway. I have 2 driveways. And I rent the other one out. So I had to text them and be like, hey, be really careful because it's all ice underneath that snow. And it's not even like the gravelly ice. It was like a sheet of ice. It was awful. And I didn't even know my hand was bleeding. I'm in here getting ready for the live, and I look at my computer mouse and I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, it was blood. I'm like, oh my gosh. 70 degrees. It's supposed to be 65 here next week. This weekend, I think Saturday's supposed to be close to 50, but it's going to be raining all day. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be in the high 50s to mid 60s. And then it goes back down into the 30s. It's like, come on. Oh yeah, after 30, falling really hurts. Well, and it was kind of funny because I felt myself slip, so I went to grab the hedges. Well, the hedges aren't going to help me because, one, they're just twigs now. Like there's no leaves or anything. There's not really anything to hold on to. So I'm on the ground and I'm trying to get up, but I keep sliding. So I use the snowbank to stand up, and then I did make it to the mailbox. But then I walked on the road to get back to the house. I was like, I don't care. I'm walking on the road. And see, I knew I was going to go out my front door, but I was like, I don't really want to walk through the snow. Like I was going to use the UPS driver's footprints. And I was like, nah, I'll just go the long way. Yeah, bad idea. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? KCG, good to see you. All right, so we're going to hey, Marie, thanks for being here. I'm just scooting up a little bit to see if I missed anybody. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's wild, but let me tell you, I am so excited for warmer weather. I don't I do my rebounder, but I like being outside. Like I love walking, and this winter has been so brutal that I haven't been able to get out nearly as much as I would like to. All right, so let me add this. And I do have a poll, actually. If you haven't voted in the poll, please do so now, because I'm going to, oh my gosh, it's 50-50. We need some more votes. If anyone has not voted, please vote. I'm going to end it in 1 minute. 1 minute. And will Colin Gray be found guilty on all counts? So it could be 1 count, it could be 2. He is facing, what was it, 52 charges. He has 52 counts against him. So I'm saying on all counts. All right. So I'm going to hit play, and then I will end the poll. Oh, 29. It must be the son is 52. Thank you, Nanny. I was just reading an article about Colt Gray. All right, I'm on the wrong screen.
All right, so my understanding is the jury has a verdict. I realize that there are divergent interests in the courtroom. Sorry, so everybody else is present. All right, so my understanding is the jury has a verdict, and that there are divergent interests in the courtroom. If you want to remain in the courtroom, you have to control the emotional outbursts that you may have. So, counsel, what I will do is confirm that they have a verdict, and then I will have the court person deliver it. It will be brought over to me. I will ask counsel to approach, to inspect the verdict. I will ask you if there are any objections to the form or legality of the verdict. So you might have questions.
Yeah.
All right. Roche, you can bring the jury in. Madam Foreperson, my understanding is the jury has reached a verdict. Is that true?
Yes.
So was the verdict unanimous?
Yes.
And have you signed, dated it, and filled in your verdict where applicable?
Yes.
All right, you'll hand it to the bailiff. Yes, sir. And counsel, if y'all want to approach to inspect the verdict. Any objections to the form or legality of the verdict?
Not from the state, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, if you will publish the verdict.
In the Superior Court of Barrow County, State of Georgia versus Colin Gray, case number 24-CR-593-P, jury verdict. Count 1, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 2, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 3, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 4, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 5, involuntary manslaughter, unfaithful act. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 6, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 7, involuntary manslaughter, unlawful act. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 8, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 10, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 11, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 12, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 13, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 14, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 15, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 16, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 17, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 18, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 19, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 20, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 22, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 23, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 24, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 25, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 26, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 27, reckless conduct, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 28, reckless conduct, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 29, reckless conduct, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. This third day of March 2026, signed for person.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Counsel, do we need the services of the jury or any inquiry with the jury?
Yes, Judge, we'd have support to pull the jury.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the defense has asked that I poll the jury. What I am going to do is call out a juror number. I'll ask you to stand. I'm going to ask, was it your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily entered by you or made by you? And this is still your verdict. Juror number 2, stand. All right. Ma'am, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 49. Ma'am, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict? Thank you. Juror 51. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 52. Ma'am, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 63. 63. Yes. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
It was.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 71. Ma'am, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 77. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 82. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 97. And was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 99. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 102. Sir, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror 103. Ma'am, was this your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
All right, thank Any reason why the jury should not be released?
Not gonna say, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all will, go ahead and just go back to the jury room. I'll come back and address you shortly. Brooks,
Sir.
you can put the alternates back in the
Yes, sir.
regular jury. All right, y'all can remain Mr. Gray in custody. Obviously, we're not doing sentencing today. Sentencing will be deferred. Don't take me yet. I'm sorry. I thought maybe you had custody. All right, so sentencing will be deferred. I probably meet with Councilman Chambers if you want to discuss scheduling for sentencing, if that works. And we'll go from there. And Danielle, will get the sheriff's office in order. Anything else we need to address today?
Before you talk to the jury, do you mind if me and defense counsel approaches quickly?
Yeah.
All right, so I think that is maybe it. I'm gonna just see if they say anything else, and then I do have the prosecutor did speak with the press after the verdict, so we'll take a look at that as well. But for those of you who may have come in late, Colin Gray has been found guilty on all charges. So my opinion is that instead of sentencing Colin for each count, my opinion is that the judge is going to sentence him to life in prison. But we'll see. All right, so maybe that is all that they do is
Sentencing, which obviously
all right, so he does say something.
we're going to discuss the scheduling of sentencing, which obviously there are a lot of people that need to be notified, have a right to appear at sentencing. So sentencing will be deferred to another day. I will talk to counsel in chambers to discuss the timeline for that. Otherwise, we are adjourned.
All right, they are adjourned. Yep, so sentencing has not been scheduled because, you know, as the judge said, a lot of people are going to want to probably be there to give victim impact statements, etc. And so I would assume usually sentencing is like, I feel like it's usually a month or so out from the verdict. Jay says, I still think the son should have stuck to his original thought on how to make his dad get instead of innocent people at school. Pookie said maybe he wanted him to suffer in prison like he knew that he would. Marie says, Jenny wants nothing to do with any of them. I understand. The youngest son has lost his whole family, though. Prayers for that boy. I pray he makes a difference in the world in a good way. I mean, he still has mom and grandma and grandpa. I assume that mom has custody of the little one, but that I don't know. I do too, Evil Queen. I was just talking about that today to one of my coworkers, that the mom is culpable as well. She didn't provide the gun, but she had information that could have possibly prevented this. Possibly. And I mean, there was a lot of things that should have prevented this kid from having a weapon, but none of them did. Would it have changed the outcome? Maybe not. Yet she knew a lot that she didn't tell Colin. So Lunatic says maybe parents will start to take the mental health of their children a lot more seriously, though. And I mean, so the Crumleys, when were they on trial? That was last year, right? Yeah, well, actually, they were sentenced before this happened. In April 2024, they were sentenced. This happened in September 2024. So hopefully it's a lesson to be learned to other parents, because Pookie says maybe he'll get a little help in prison. I know it won't be like the help he could have gotten before he did this. Oh, Colt. Yeah, and his trial still hasn't been scheduled. Marie says justice may be served, but nothing will bring back innocent lives. So many will live with trauma forever. Agreed. JS, he's been in custody the whole time. I believe they had what's the word? Not denied bail. Yeah, like denied bail. Like, so he was being held without bail. Let's see. Me too. Impact statements. That's gonna be a tough one. No, Marcy didn't get any charges. Nope. Lunatic, during the Nicholas Cruz's penalty phase trial, I listened to the victim impact statements. That was, I normally don't get emotional about things, but when, oh my gosh, what was his name? Not Phoenix. Give me a second, it'll come to me. Joaquin, was it? Yeah, it was Joaquin something. Anyways, Joaquin's girlfriend spoke, and that, oh my gosh, I was a mess. I was a mess hearing her statement. Yeah, it is super sad. Pookie says, but now we have another guilty conviction. I pray that parents are getting their reality check, get these kids the help they need. Then again, some of the parents may be as ignorant as Mr. Gray was. They may not realize that this is happening. They may not realize that, other parents have been charged, or, oh, it won't be me. It won't be me. Well, it could be you. Is there a death penalty there? Well, let's see. Well, yes, but I don't believe he can get the death penalty with second-degree murder. Let's see. Second-degree murder, Penal Code, Georgia. So, second-degree murder, convictions carry 10 to 30 years in prison, which may be probated, which he's not going to be up for probation for a long time with all of those charges. However, for Colt Gray, he could get the death penalty because it says felony murder, death during a felony, and malice murder, intent to kill, carry life imprisonment or the death penalty. So where Colt intended to kill people, he could face the death penalty. So I'm curious as to if the prosecution will offer him a deal to life in prison if they take the death penalty off the table. So we'll have to see. Yeah, that's true. Concurrent. I feel like they would, with all those charges, I feel like they would run concurrent, because consecutive, I mean, I guess they could be consecutive. He could be sentenced to, 180 years in prison, because that's, I believe, the highest amount he could receive was 180 years in prison. Good question, Nicole. I may be wrong on that. Wasn't Carly Gregg from Georgia? Or was she Mississippi? I think she was Mississippi. Let's see. Can minors charged as adults in Georgia receive, God, if I could type, the death penalty? Okay, so no, they cannot. All right, so I guess Colt Gray would get life in prison. Okay, so I'm glad you said that, Nicole. So minors charged as adults in Georgia cannot receive the death penalty. According to the 2005 U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Roper v. Simmons, the death penalty is prohibited for anyone under the age of 18 at the time of their crime, regardless of whether they are tried in adult court. Well, Georgia law permits minors aged 13 to 17 to be prosecuted as adults for serious violent felonies like murder, armed robbery, or rape. They are not eligible for the death penalty. The most severe penalty a minor can receive in Georgia is life imprisonment without parole. Georgia considers individuals 17 and older as adults for the purpose of criminal prosecution. So maybe he will take his chances. I don't know. I feel like that whole thing was caught on camera. That whole thing was caught on camera. Oh, England. He was 13 and got the death penalty. See, and even with Carly Gregg, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I didn't agree with that. Like, I feel like with the right treatment and therapy, I mean, Carly Gregg was 12 when she shot and killed her mom and then, tried to kill her stepdad. She was 13 when she was convicted, and I just feel like that's, you know what? Actually, before we get to, because I'll forget. Let me just see what's going on with Carly Gregg. Because I know she was going to appeal the sentencing. Oh, 5 days ago. Okay, we're going to do that at the end. I'm going to keep my window open because there was an article 5 days ago about Carly Gregg. Okay, so let me go to, boop, 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 let's see. So we'll look at, so the prosecutor spoke for about 10 minutes-ish. And then I just have a summary news clip where we'll look at the summary of Colin Gray, and then we'll talk about Carly Gregg. Okay, I don't know what state, but I know a 13-year-old got the death penalty for killing a 5-year-old. Let's see. I'm not seeing anyone in this. Well, there was a 14-year-old in 1944 who was executed. In 2007, there was a boy who at 13 killed his 4-year-old sister. He got 40 years in prison. And then 1993, a 13-year-old killed a 4-year-old in New York. He received the max sentence of 9 years to life and was paroled after 27 years in prison. So George Stinney was South Carolina in 1944. He was 14 years old, 6 months, and 5 days when he was executed. He weighed 90 pounds. Yep. Okay. So Rhonda, that was, oh shoot, what was his Greg? Oh my gosh, what was his name? George Stinney Jr. He murdered 2 girls aged 8 and 11. That might be a cool case to look at. Let me write down his name. George Stinney. He was electrocuted by, or executed by the electric chair. Okay, so let's listen to this. Yep. Oh, yep. I did read that, Nicole. You were right. I'm glad you asked that question.
Good morning. Thank y'all for coming. Just tell you straight off the bat, we're very happy with the jury's verdict. The victims are very happy with the jury's verdict, and I'll answer any questions anyone has. Courtney?
What does this mean for the state of Georgia, this guilty verdict, the first time a parent has been charged in connection to a school shooting?
Well, we hope that it moves the needle a little further. I think you saw in this case that the mother actually reviewed what happened in Michigan, which would have been the first one, and she then, as a result of that, asked her husband to remove the weapons. It could have ended this tragedy. So Michigan was able to move the needle to the point that it almost stopped this tragedy. We don't know how many tragedies it did stop, and we hope we've moved the needle a little further.
At what point in this investigation did you decide to charge the father?
It would have been in the first few days. Of course, we learned about the shrine in the house early on, which worried us. And then when we found out about the FBI 2 years before at the house, or a year and a half before, that started to connect the dots with us, that he had a long time of knowledge. So we were leaning towards charging, and probably did charge at that point. The text messages came in later and just reinforced our decision.
You had an opportunity to talk to jurors afterwards.
Yes.
What did they share with you? This is an extremely quick verdict considering the length of this trial?
They were very happy with our presentation. They thought we did a good job. They had some questions about things they didn't see, evidence they weren't allowed to see. We talked to them a little bit about that. And they just kind of talked us through where the children were, where the victims were, how they were doing. And we reassured them on that front.
What was the biggest piece of evidence that you think led to this guilty verdict by the jurors?
I don't think it was one piece of evidence. I think it was the fact that it was multiple pieces of evidence over a lengthy period of time that really showed them what was happening inside that house and all the warnings that were missed. I think it's one of those things, the defense talked about a slippery slope, but it wasn't like one parent missed one warning. This was multiple warnings over a lengthy period of time. And like we said, you just had to do one thing and take that rifle away. And this
Nicole, it was less than 2 hours. They received the case this morning, and when they arrived, and at least I know I had checked it at like 11:15 this morning, and it was on CNN. That's how I found out that there was a verdict. Let's see. And I believe, I'm just going to check the time zone. Okay, so they're on Eastern time too. So I would say they got the case around 9 o'clock, and by 11 a.m. they had the verdict.
would have been prevented. So I think it was all of those things together.
You did get him to concede on the stand that he was told by Cole that that was Nicholas Cruz in those pictures. Do you think that that was a big moment for jurors?
Absolutely. I mean, how do you allow those pictures on your child's wall and not question it further?
At what point for you should he have locked up the guns?
That calls for a lot of speculation. I would have never given my 14-year-old child a firearm like that after Jackson County coming to my house. I think most parents wouldn't have done that. I don't know if that reaches criminal at that point.
I agree. If I had sheriffs coming to my home stating that the FBI traced an IEP address to my home with a statement about a school shooting happening, that would be a major red flag. I think any reasonable person, parent, would then say, I need to either lock these guns up or get them out of the house.
But it certainly reaches common sense.
What do you recommend for sentencing?
We haven't decided that yet. We're going to talk with the victims' families. I haven't actually spoken to them at all since the verdict came out. So we're going to go talk with them, get them ready. Sentencing will be at a future time when they can all be here and speak to the judge, and we'll discuss it with them and make a decision.
What have the victims' families told you prior to this, like throughout this process? Or are there any comments that they've made that sort of stand out in your mind?
I don't think it was a common reaction. They all are reacting to their grief in different ways. They all have different perspectives, and we've listened to all of them and talked with all of them. And I don't think there's any common thing. I've just told them from the beginning that my plan was to prosecute this to the fullest extent of the law. And that's what we've done.
When you spoke to jurors, did they give any sense that they were trying to send a message?
I don't think I got that sense from them. I think they were looking at this case, these facts, and this law and coming to a decision.
Were you surprised by how quickly?
Actually blamed others in this case, said D. Martin could have been to blame, said Lisa Butler. What do you say? Or the mother should have known something. How do you explain that to viewers who haven't been watching this 2-week trial?
One of the things that came to light during our investigation was that the reason so many lives were saved at Apalachee was because of lessons we learned from prior tragedies. So I am all for looking at these things. What could we have done better? What can we do in the future to make our children safer? But the blame game, these were good people trying to make their best decisions as they could with limited information. The one person that had all the information was the one that didn't act.
Did you ever actually consider charges for Marcy Gray?
Absolutely. We found.
I'm glad someone asked that question, because I'm interested to see what his answer is, because she should have been charged. She knew.
The information. The one person that had all the information was the one that didn't act.
Did you ever actually consider charges for Marcy Gray?
Absolutely. We found what she did to be morally reprehensible. We do not believe she's a good mother, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, she did not have custody of Colt. She did not have proximity to Colt. And she was not the one that provided him the firearms.
Can you provide
I guess that makes sense. Like, she didn't have custody. Colin was the legal custodial parent. She didn't live near Colt. She lived, what was it? I think they said like 2 hours away. But at the same time, she lived with them for some time. Like when his behavior started to implode, I guess is a good word for it. I mean, she watched a documentary about the Crumleys. She Googled, can parents be charged if their child is a school shooter? Like, I don't know. But, I guess they know better than me. They know better than me. Right, Nanny? She did have information that could have prevented it.
any update on Colt's case and where that stands at this point?
I cannot. The state stands ready to try the case at any time.
What does this verdict mean for the community here in the county?
I hope it starts the healing process. It can't, of course, complete it until we finish the whole trial, both trials. But I hope that they can start moving forward with their healing.
Were you surprised at how quick the verdict came?
If they didn't come back in 5 minutes, I start sweating. So to me, it seemed like an eternity.
What message do you hope this case sends to other parents here in Barrow County or around the country?
Well, at my college, there was a plaque on the wall that said, "Duty is the sublimest word in the English language." And we talk a lot about rights in our country. And we're proud of our rights, and I'm proud of our rights. But, our rights were given to us by our forefathers. But God gave us a duty to protect our children. And I hope that we remember that as parents, as community members, to protect our children, because that is our God-given duty.
Legal question. Colt has the presumption of innocence.
Yes, sir.
But how can he still have that when his father has been convicted now of crimes that he allegedly committed?
That's a question for the courts and his defense attorneys.
That is a really good question. That's a really good question I hadn't thought about. I'm going to listen to that again.
As parents, as community members, to protect our children, because that is our God-given duty.
Legal question. Colt has the presumption of innocence.
Yes, sir.
But how can he still have that when his father has been convicted now of crimes that he allegedly committed?
That's a question for the courts and his defense attorneys.
Can you give our audience
That is a really good question, because now his dad has been convicted in giving him the means to do what he did. So how can he say he didn't do it? Hey, Team Brit, what's going on? I hope you're feeling okay. Long time no see. Yeah, Marie, mom's addiction came before her children and the safety of others. She is not a mother.
sense of how much work you and your team put into a case like this?
Hours, lives. We've had Ashley Gilliland, who testified in the trial, Amanda Dibble, Jenny, thank you, worked extremely hard on this case. It is all they've been doing for the last year, at least. The hours we put in has been tremendous, but we wanted to honor the families, the victims. We wanted to honor all the hard work that law enforcement did, and us not giving everything we had to this case would have been dishonor to them, and we weren't going to do that.
And clearly it had an emotional impact on your entire team as well as you. There were moments that we saw you, tearing up as we heard testimony from those survivors.
Well, we're all parents, We can never understand the full grief, but it touches us. And we've met these families, we've dealt with these families, we walked through with these families, and yeah, it's emotional.
There were points throughout leading up to the tragedy when law enforcement could have stepped in to interrupt the situation in some way, or have spoken up a little bit louder than they did. Do you think there are some lessons that can be learned from that for law enforcement in the county as far as how to prevent these kind of situations from happening again?
Yeah, we've been discussing that as a law enforcement community. In fact, y'all probably know that after this event happened, we got a flood of threats coming in from kids all over the world, because kids are kids, I guess. So we've had to discuss, how are we going to deal with these? How are we going to work through all of these threats where children are doing this what we would consider outrageous actions of calling in threats when they don't mean anything. So yeah, there's been a lot of discussions with law enforcement about how to deal with these sorts of things going forward.
What would you say to those that are disturbed by this verdict across the nation, who think this is a parent that is being held responsible for something that his child did? What would you tell those people?
I would say, please watch my opening. This was a trial about this defendant's actions, his choices, and his responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
So, and I take back what I said about this prosecutor being mean and condescending. He was doing a job. He seems very sweet, honestly. In this interview, he seems like there's more inflection in his voice. He's not as intimidating. So he's a pretty cool guy. All right, so just the last clip I have is just to kind of summarize everything, the verdict and, the case as a whole.
Count 1, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 2, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 3, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
With me and defense counsel, Prentice, quickly.
Guilty on all charges. A jury has delivered a sweeping verdict in the Apalachee High School shooting case. The father of the accused shooter now faces up to 180 years behind bars. That's a decision that could keep him in prison for the rest of his life. 2 teachers and 2 14-year-old students were killed.
And there's the 4. So Christian Angulo, 14. Mason Schermerhorn, 14. Richard Aspinwall, 39. And Christina Irami, 53. And, the one thing, too, that hit me yesterday in the closing was the prosecutor had said Mason never stood a chance. And then Christian died trying to push the shooter out of his classroom. And then even after being shot, was able to close the door so that his classmates were protected. If not for Christian, there would be a lot more families in this situation.
In that mass shooting at Apalachee High School in September of 2024, 9 other people were hurt. Colin Gray's 14-year-old son, Colin Gray, is the suspected shooter in this deadly shooting that leaves the community in mourning nearly 2 years later. Thanks for being with us. I'm Brooks Baptiste. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Beimfor is live for us at the Barrow County Courthouse. Chelsea, you were inside the courtroom as that verdict came down.
We did watch Colin Gray's reaction.
Yeah, Brooks, there were a lot of emotions running very high. You could hear families of the victims crying and family members of Colin Gray as well. It did take several minutes for all of those charges and those counts to be read. Most notably, Colin Gray is convicted of 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. He is the first father of an alleged school shooter to be convicted of murder. In a similar case in Michigan, a mother and father.
I hadn't thought of that. The Crumleys weren't found I don't know if they were even charged with murder. Let me just look that up quick. Okay, so James and Jennifer Crumley were convicted on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. So here, Georgia was able to charge him with second-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree murder for Mason and Christian, and then involuntary manslaughter for the 2 teachers that passed. And the Crumleys were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. This is a much bigger precedence, I think, that Colin Gray was charged with murder.
Were convicted of involuntary manslaughter, but not murder. Barrow County District Attorney Brad Smith just came out and spoke with reporters in the last 10 minutes.
Right, Nanny. And then, thank goodness, he didn't get into his room. Right, because that young girl went to open the door and saw him with the gun. So she backed up and told her teacher, who then pressed the button on her badge, which you think that badge also saved people's lives. The fact that his first period teacher noticed this poster board and how the bag, didn't look right. And he, Colt had asked about, have you had a school shooter drill lately? And the fact that people are trying to put blame on her or the vice principal, that's just wrong. It was pure circumstance that there was a Colin Gray and a Colt Gray. They didn't look anything alike, but somehow Colin Gray is the one who the school resource officers pulled to question. It was just, as that movie, a series of unfortunate events. But thankfully, these kids weren't just quick to open the door. I think of that one classroom where the boy just reached back to open the door without even looking. God forbid that had happened in this situation. If that girl hadn't seen the gun and had just said, "Oh, I'll just open the door and not even look," it would have been so much worse. So those kids and teachers are heroes. They shouldn't be blamed at all. Yeah, that too, Nanny. And they were in the bathroom at the same time. So if someone said Colin Gray or Colt Gray, I'm guessing they said Colton because that's who they went to find. Just the cards just fell in a really bad way for this.
He said he was very pleased with the verdict and talked about how hard his team worked to bring justice to the victims' families. We also have some sound from inside court of that verdict being read.
Count 1, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 2, cruelty.
I wonder if his attorneys hadn't prepped him ahead of time saying, hey, this verdict came back really quick. I would be prepared to hear the words guilty.
To children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 3, murder in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 4, cruelty to children in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 5, involuntary manslaughter, unfaithful act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Members of those killed in this.
And again, as that verdict was read out, all 29 charges, there were lots of cries in the courtroom. We saw Mason Schemmerhorn's parents hugging and crying, as well as Christian Angelo's father. Coming up at 12:30, we'll have more from the district attorney about this verdict. He also tells us that sentencing will be set for another date when all of the victims' families can be present and speak on the stand before Colin Gray learns what his sentence will be. Reporting live from the Barrow County Courthouse, Chelsea Vine for Atlanta News 5. first.
All right, Chelsea, of course, this providing those families with just a little bit of closure, but there's still much more to go for sure. And Colin Gray's trial was the nation's second judicial case against the parents of an alleged school shooter. Michigan parents Jennifer and James Crumley were the first in the country to be convicted in 2021 for their role in the Oxford High School shooting.
Wow, it was that long ago? 2021 they were convicted? God, time flies. Or no, the shooting was in 2021, right? The shooting was in 2021. I just said it was 2024 they were convicted.
That also happened in 2021, and that was committed by their son.
All right, so there we have it. Colin Gray, guilty on all charges. Nanny says, I noticed the defense attorney made like a fist when they were up there reviewing verdict. I wondered if that was a signal. Oh. Marie said, I've always thought teachers had such an important job. They carry so much and fear should never be part of their job. Agreed. Agreed. All right, so before we go, this made me think of Carly Gregg. And for those of you who didn't follow the trial of Carly Gregg, I actually was mistaken on her age. She wasn't 12. She was 14 when she killed her stepmom. And she was 15 when she was sentenced. So I was off on her age. So I know she was appealing her conviction. Her attorney at one point had requested a new trial. This article is from last week. So Ashley would not have wanted this. Family friends form group to seek mercy for Carly Gregg. Actually, is this this might be just a, let's see, let's watch this.
Welcome to a recovery experience designed for comfort, privacy, and
attorneys representing Carly Gregg recently filed a reply brief in the Mississippi Supreme Court in response to arguments made by the state in her appeal. The defense outlined what they call major issues in order to challenge and reverse her conviction and sentencing. Gregg was convicted in 2024 for shooting and killing her mother, Ashley Smiley, and shooting her stepfather, Heath Smiley. She was sentenced to life without parole. Now, the Carly's Warriors Foundation, alongside her attorneys, are fighting back against this sentencing. 3 Near Side's Claire Cole joins us to give you more information about what they want.
The foundation argues that Carly Gregg was just a teenager dealing with the side effects of a new prescription when tragedy unfolded. They add that her decisions in the aftermath could have never gotten her in prison without parole.
Carly's Warriors is a foundation with participants from around the world calling for a new trial or new sentence for Carly Gregg. Gregg was 14 years old when she shot and killed her mother, Ashley Smiley, in Rankin County in March of 2024. After a week-long trial, Gregg was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole, all within 6 months of the shooting. Gregg was offered a 40-year sentence as part of a plea deal, but rejected it. Now this foundation is calling for an end to sentencing juveniles to life without parole while speaking out for Gregg.
Carly's a 14-year-old who never had an issue before, and she was sentenced to life with no parole.
Well, she also murdered her stepmother, or her mother, and shot and tried to kill her stepdad. So she may not have been in trouble before, but she murdered someone.
I don't see how anyone can explain to me how that's justified.
They also are attributing her actions to antidepressants they say Gregg was prescribed and had been taking only days prior to the murder.
Carly's sitting in a jail now to rot the rest of her life because she was following orders that her family and doctors told her to do.
I don't agree. I don't think the prescription she was given caused her to do what she did. She did what she did because she was caught with vapes or dab pens. She had burner phones, and she was meticulous. She deliberately took down the camera in the kitchen. I believe it was found in the freezer. She used her mom's cell phone to lure her stepdad home. It wasn't the medication, in my opinion, of course. But I also don't agree that she should have gotten life in prison without the possibility of parole. She's 14.
Greg's appellate attorney has filed a brief with the Mississippi Supreme Court, arguing that her sentence is unconstitutional.
Needs to be looked at for what it is in totality, with culpability.
We reached out to the prosecution for comment and have not received a call back.
Okay, so let's go back to the article. So it says, we, the jury, find Carly Madison Gregg guilty of first-degree murder. Lisa Featherstone was more than 4,400 miles away in England when Rankin County Circuit Judge Dewey Arthur read the verdict. I was just so disillusioned when the jury came back as fast as they did. I felt physically sick. It's been nearly a year and a half since Gregg, a former Northwest Rankin High School student, was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the shooting death of her mom, Ashley Smiley. Wow, it's been a year and a half. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. Since then, people from across the globe have come together in the teens' defense, forming a nonprofit to advocate for Carly and other teens and launching a letter-writing campaign to the Mississippi Supreme Court on Carly's behalf. The group is known as Carly's Warriors, and their nonprofit is the Carly Warriors Foundation. The organization was registered with the Mississippi Secretary of State's office this month. According to its website, the group's chief executive officers are Robert and Vicki Breland, Carly's grandparents, and Heath Smiley, Carly's stepfather. Other foundation officers include Featherstone, the chief operating officer, Jody Bush Stocker, the chief financial officer, and Tara Ashby, the executive director. We recently spoke with Featherstone, Ashby, and Bush Stocker via social media. All three acknowledge the severity of Carly's crimes, but say Carly is more than that one act. Charles Manson, he got life with parole. Sirhan got life with parole. Carly's a 14-year-old who never had an issue before, and she was sentenced to life with no parole, said Ashby, the foundation's executive director and board secretary. I don't see how anyone can explain to me how that's justified. Carly was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in September 2024, months after she shot and killed her mother and attempted to kill her stepfather at their Ashton Way home. Court records show after shooting her mother, Carly called her stepfather on her mother's phone asking when he was coming home. And Carly was offered a plea deal. I don't remember. It's been so long. I don't remember. Let me see if I can find it. Carly Gregg. I think it was 40 years. Yes. Carly Gregg turned down a 40-year plea deal, deciding to leave her fate in the hands of a Rankin County jury. So I was correct. The teen supporters say Carly isn't the person she has been portrayed as in the media. She can't even remember what happened or why, said Bush Stocker, the foundation's chief financial officer and director of advocacy. She knows she did it because it's on video, but she has no recollection of it otherwise. The three also claim Carly had just been switched to a new antidepressant and that the change in medication led to the shooting. I watched the trial from start to finish live, which is what got my attention because I have a daughter that's very, very similar to Carly, who also had a bad reaction to an antidepressant. I've never had a gun in my home for that reason. The three also attempted to clear up why Carly was seen smiling at one point during the proceedings. She was looking at her family and her family is talking to her. The only time she saw her family was in the courtroom, and during breaks, they would try to lighten the mood. Carly, who is now 16, is being held at a youthful offender facility in the state. She also received life in prison for the attempted murder of her stepfather and 10 years for tampering with evidence. Members of Carly's Warriors got together last year to mark the 1-year anniversary of the verdict. They also stay in constant contact with the teen, with Bush Docker speaking to her daily. She is missing her mom like crazy. She has said over and over again that her mom is the most important person in her life. This is not something that's in the past for her. This is current for her. It's not over for her, and it's not over for the family. Carly's case is currently on appeal to the state Supreme Court. In a 30-page filing from January 28th, Carly's attorneys argue that the trial court failed to follow rules regarding mental health evaluations, instructed the jury on sentencing options not authorized under state statute, and improperly precluded allowing the trial to be continued if need be. In the meantime, filings indicate more than half a dozen letters have been submitted on Carly's behalf, including ones from Featherstone, Bushstalker, and Ashby, asking for a new trial or a reduced sentence. I can't imagine my kids, even at 21 and 22, making a decision that they're going to be held accountable for the rest of their lives. I never got a chance to meet Ashley, but Ashley would not have wanted this for Carly. Ashley never would have wanted her to be the spectacle on TV and to be thrown away. Well, unfortunately, Ashley is no longer alive to give her thoughts. But I do agree that I feel that Carly's sentence should be looked at again, and, you know, she should be eligible for parole. That's what I think. And I did look because I think it was JS had mentioned the Supreme Court ruling. So I Googled it. Minors in the United States can receive life in prison without parole, although it is rare and legally restricted. Supreme Court rulings prohibit mandatory life without parole for juveniles, requiring judges to consider mitigating factors like age and rehabilitation potential, though they can still impose it for homicide. In Miller v. Alabama, 2012, the court ruled mandatory life without parole for minors unconstitutional. In Montgomery v. Louisiana, 2016, it made this retroactive. While 28 plus states have banned life without parole for juveniles, others still allow it, and thousands of people are serving these sentences for crimes committed under age 18. Following Montgomery, many individuals formerly sentenced to mandatory life without parole have been resentenced, with some receiving shorter sentences or parole eligibility. The Supreme Court has ruled that a finding of, quote, permanent incorrigibility is not strictly required to sentence a juvenile to life without parole. While some states have passed laws eliminating life without parole for juveniles, it remains a possible sentence in others for severe crimes. So, some states still allow, so let's see, what states? Okay, so the states that allow life without parole for juveniles: Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and others. It doesn't say what, Illinois, Minnesota, New Mexico. There's 28 total states. Oh wait, those have banned. So 28 have banned it, including Washington, D.C. The ones I had read initially are those that still allow life without parole for juveniles. Wow, 2,500 people, 2,500 minors were previously serving such sentences. Oh, here, juvenile life without, here, let me share this so y'all can see what I'm looking at. I just found this site that I'm going to look at. So it says juvenile life without parole by state. Okay, so New York has not banned juvenile life without parole sentences, but currently has no one serving life without parole. New Hampshire has not banned juvenile life without parole sentences. Maine has not banned juvenile life without parole sentences, but currently has no one serving life without parole. Okay, so let's see. West Virginia has banned. Okay, so the dark blue states have banned juvenile life without parole sentences. So all this dark blue. Light blue are states that have not banned it, but also do not have anyone serving, well, any juveniles serving life without parole. The yellow states have not banned it. So if a juvenile commits murder or some other violent offense that warrants life without parole, they could potentially be sentenced to that. Nanny says, we had a 14-year-old near here in 2005 that shot and killed his bus driver. After many years, he appealed, got out, and last year his record was expunged. They say he should have never been sent to adult court. He had been sentenced to first-degree premeditated murder. A kid had to steer the bus and her children were on the bus. Oh my gosh. Jason Clenard. Let's look him up. Jason. Yep, right here. Oh wow, it was recent. August 25. Expunged. Tennessee man convicted of killing bus driver has record expunged. Well, the internet's forever, so everyone's going to know what he was convicted of and what he did. A hearing was held on Tuesday after a man convicted of killing a Stewart County bus driver was released from prison. During the hearing, the man, Jason Clenard, had his record and the record of him committing the murder expunged, clearing his name of wrongdoing. Clenard has been out of prison for 2 years now. In 2005, Clenard was accused of shooting and killing a bus driver. He was 14 years old when he reportedly shot and killed Joyce Gregory during her morning bus route. The shooting happened around 6:15 a.m. on March 2nd, 2005, on a road just outside of Cumberland City. Clenard was later convicted after the case moved from juvenile court to circuit court and was sentenced to life in prison. Clenard appealed the verdict in federal court on whether he should have been tried as an adult. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals ordered that a new juvenile transfer hearing be held for Clenard because of ineffective representation. So it was a technicality. U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw issued an order on September 18, 2023, stating that Clenard should not have been transferred to adult court and ordered him released from custody. And although there are reasonable grounds to believe Clenard committed the delinquent act as alleged, Clenard is not committable to an institution for the developmentally disabled or mentally ill, and the interests of the community do not require that Clenard be put under legal restraint or discipline. Consequently, the state of Tennessee's petition to transfer Clenard to adult court is denied. Crenshaw also vacated Clenard's conviction and sentence for first-degree premeditated murder. So there it was, ineffective representation. Interesting. But it could be expunged, but just like we just did, we just looked up his name and we saw that he had killed his bus driver. He was convicted of killing his bus driver, but then his record was expunged. It's still going to follow him the rest of his life. So while he's not a felon on paper, what he did is going to follow him for life. Their bus driver reported him for smoking or something like that, so he decided to kill her. Unbelievable. All right, y'all. Well, I am going to get moving. The one thing that I did want to do, I don't know if all are knowledgeable of this, but I am going to be a part of a channel that Nunya created called No Safe Takes Network, and the first live stream, I believe, is tonight. No, it's not. Ooh, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be tonight. Unless it got changed. Hold on a second. Let me just look at something right quick. Today's the 3rd. Yeah, there's so I'll just share the page then, because there's no live stream scheduled, which is very strange. So definitely check them out. Check us out, I should say. My date isn't for a couple of weeks. And I'm still trying to figure out what I want to talk about. I have a few things that I'm thinking of, but I haven't decided what specifically I want to bring to the table yet. So definitely check out the page. There is a trailer there. They also did a live with introductions. I was not there for introductions because we were covering Colin's trial, but definitely check it out. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a great rest of your night. I am going to go make some food and relax the rest of the day. So I do plan on going live tomorrow. So we'll get back into some stories that I wanted to talk about and not had the chance to. So if you haven't hit that like, please do so on your way out. If you're watching this on the replay, #replay, leave a comment below. And until next time, y'all, I will see you on the flip side.
You have one shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high harass. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high harass. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. So on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I'm so gone, faded off a 30 rack. She's so on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I rap with a passion, yeah, I got it in me. I've been waiting quite a long time for y'all to hear me. It's about damn time you put some stock into me. You're either sponsoring me or fucking bothering me. And the fact is, we just practice all this madness. That is why our status is like a canvas. Chances our advancement is enhancing, and this new expansion's like a mansion. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high harass. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high harass. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse.